Let's go. See if we can find a decent spot to do this. Well, it was going to be a tabletop review, but as you can see, we got a change of setting. No tables here. Right, Bolt? What could be a good spot to be at? I don't know. We will just have to find a suitable place with not too much direct sunlight, because that won't help bringing out the details of the Highwayman 3. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about you, Bolt, but I think the other way, perhaps. Or perhaps not. Perhaps this is the way to go then, huh? Here we can see some action from the local wild boars. There are many of them. And I'm not gonna lie, the Highwayman Bowie 3 could be a useful tool for playing with the wild boars. Not that I'm really up to it, not that it's gonna happen in this video. I hope not. I'll be right back here as soon as I find a suitable place to do some recordings somewhere. Yep. Me and Bolt, we just found a good spot here. He's more in the sun in the background here, and I found a place with a bit of shade at least. That should give us slightly better light conditions to see the full details of this knife. And the knife in question is, of course, the newly released Highwayman Bowie 3. There was, well, obviously a 1 and a 2 made some time ago, but in a very limited run. I think they were all made by Jim Stewart and by Skittles. But this is, you know, the first real large production Highwayman Bowie, and also the largest one of the 3. And this year, the year of 2021, is the year when Bark River is going all in on Bowie models, to some people's big delight. I am probably one of those who appreciate some really nice and kind of large Bowies. So when you get a knife, this is the sheath that comes with it. We can probably take a look at it. It's a large sheath, obviously, because it is a fairly large knife. You have this design with some leather straps here that makes it possible for you. Let's see if you can see here in behind here. You can secure the knife using these straps here, should you want to do that. I'm not, going into any more details, but the strap here, for those wondering what function it has, it is for securing the handle to the sheath. You can also remove the sheath from the belt hanger here. So if you want to just throw it in your backpack and go out hiking and feeling the need for a knife like this, then you can just put it in your bag like this, and it will be slightly smaller, take up a bit less space, a bit more practical to carry with you. Less practical to try to attach to any belt now, however. So that is the sheath design, and we have seen this design on a number of other Bark River Bowies, the Shining Mountain Bowie, the V44, the 1909 Michigan Bowie, and some others, I reckon. So pretty standard, but in my opinion, highly functional. Not a knife that I will be carrying a lot on my belt. Just saying, but there are people that will and can carry this, and that can carry it more proudly than I would be able to if I put it like that. So let's take a look at the knife itself. Did I remember to clean this one up after yesterday? Perhaps I didn't. It's a bit... I did actually put a small coating of ballistic oil, and that's probably why it looks a bit the way it does look right now. It could be touched up a bit more. So here it is in all its wonderful, large glory. So let's take a quick look at the specs here. So we have an overall length of 15.75 inches with a blade length of close to, I think it is 10.25 inches, and a blade thickness of, I believe, 0.250 inches, so a 1/4 inch thick. But the full thickness is of course only seen on this part, because then we have this really long characteristic swedge going on. And on my knife the swedge is obviously not sharpened, because otherwise we would have a blade covered in blood right now, and I'm not sure if I would be screaming, but I would probably make some kind of non-pleasant sound, because this is one of the fingers that I still have some feeling in after having cut myself in both my hands. We should also say something about the weight, perhaps, because this knife is not a super light knife. It weighs 20.5 ounces, and the blade steel used for this specific model and run is A2 tool steel, which is the same steel that was used for many of the other large sized knives made by Bark River, such as the Grasso Bolo 3, the Bark River Parang 1909 Michigan Bowie, and so on. And it is a true and tested steel. I have had a lot of experience with it and had pretty much zero issues so far in regards of both small, medium and large sized knives. This specific knife here is in black G10 with some really nice bloody basin spacers on the front and rear part here. As you can see, I also went with the pommel version, with this screw here securing the blade and tang and everything like that. But there is also another option, or I would actually say that the default option or version of this knife is with a Moran handle. And I should have gotten one of those as well, I realize now. And I would have loved to show them side by side. But I think most of you guys have a feeling of what a Moran handle is. If not, I might edit in a photo here of it in the video somewhere, so you can see it. But it's gonna be personal preferences which kind of handle design you want to go with. My personal preferences in general is a pommel design, But I do think, one of my main concerns or issues with the Moran style on the 1909 Michigan Bowie and the Teddy 2, both of which I have, Moran handles and poly versions, was that I felt like the Moran handle was a bit thin. But from the photos that I've seen of the Highwayman Bowie 3, it does look like they made the Moran handles quite a bit bigger, so that could be more to my taste. And I also think there was perhaps 1 or 2 coffin handles made, but that is probably a special order of sorts. Definitely not something you will see available right now in any way. So what more should we say? Yeah, hands. Size 10, I have fairly large hands. What do we see here? So this is easily a full 4-finger grip, or 5, or 5, 6, 7. Yeah, you can fit a lot of fingers on this handle. And then we're not even talking about the prolonged choil here, which makes, good for choking up. Actually, it's so long here that I can almost fit 2 fingers in, Oh, okay, maybe that is a stretch, but it is a large choil. And I think you guys know by now, I actually like choils. I haven't always liked them, but I do like them now. And it makes it easier for finer tasks. I'm not sure exactly what finer tasks you guys will be doing with the knife, but for those who want to do some, fine whittling or carving or feather sticking, using the choil can actually be helpful and a good idea. And then, placing your thumb up here, and you do have the full thickness here, so you can place your thumb here without any issues whatsoever. The balance of the knife, well, it's obviously a very front heavy knife, so the balance point is somewhere around here, I would reckon. Not a big surprise to anyone, I believe. And well, here is the biggest surprise of it all. This knife, it's convex ground. Full convex. Probably not something you've seen on a bark river before. Oh, and I should mention here about the swedge here. It's not, it's not actually a super fine swedge, it's actually quite thick. I mean, sure, we do have a 1/4 inch thick here, and then we go finer, but still, it is thick. But I know some people that has, made requests to have the swedge sharpened. I know that is illegal in some countries and in some states. I have no need for a sharpened swedge. I think it is, not very functional for whatever use I have of this specific knife. And I just, I would probably cut myself on it. If it was, sharpened, I would make a mistake somewhere and cut myself. So I prefer it being this way. Also, if you want to do some batooning with the knife, I kind of like my, the wooden stick used for batooning not to get stuck here in the sharpened swedge if it was sharpened. So I think it is quite excellent just the way it is. We also see here a guard, not a big surprise in any means, but to me it was a bit of a surprise that they made the guard kind of low profile. Before we mention that, I went of course with a single quillon. Standard configuration, or the default configuration, is of course a full guard or a double quillon or double guard, but I prefer it this way. Like I said, when choking up, in certain positions, doing some work, I prefer not to have anything protruding out here in this area. Give me 1 second, I need to call back my dog I almost can't see him anymore. 1 second. Balti, come here boy! So, where were we? Yeah, I think we were discussing the guard here. I just stated that I went with a single guard, obviously, but that the default is the double guard or the full guard. But more to it, they did make the guard kinda, subtle here. It's not a really big guard, and I think that this might be something that some people may have, you know, not really concerns, but I think the people are gonna notice it, and some might wonder, you know, why going with a smaller guard than on, for example, the newly released Teddy 2. And I don't have a really good explanation for that. Personally, I would have, you know, I wouldn't have mind if the guard was a bit more pronounced here, because it is, you know, my finger is just barely, it doesn't really cover, you know, the entire finger here. I'm not super afraid I'm gonna slip up like that, but I mean, I could see that happening, perhaps, depending on what you are using the knife for. But that is, you know, I think I should just, you know, mention it to some people that, you know, might be wondering. But I have no explanation as to why they made a more subtle guard for this knife. I'm not sure if it was the same on the Highwayman 2 and 1, but that is something that I can probably check up, but could be that it was, you know, like that from the get-go. So with that being said, I think we have gone over the knife in pretty good detail, and the different configurations available. And I hope you have gotten a good look at it as well. I hope the light conditions here will be favorable. Trying to get, you know, some good angles here for you guys to see. Lots of fingerprints and stuff on it, and that is due to the ballistic oil, like I stated, that I put on it after I used it yesterday. It got dark, you know, kind of early yesterday when I was out and couldn't make much of a recording. I did, you know, manage to take some nice photos, but recording was difficult, so that is why I waited until today to make this specific video. I did bring some paper with me, so we can do some sharpness tests here. And it's not going to be the out of the box edge here, because I did play around with it yesterday and I only cleaned it up, so it's possible it was slightly sharper yesterday, but it doesn't really matter that much. So let's see what we can do in terms of sharpness. So I'm going with two kinds of papers here now. Regular, you know, printing paper and some magazine paper. We can start with the printing paper. Absolutely nothing special about it. Just, you know, super regular printing paper. Not super thick, but not super thin. In my opinion, this is, you know, not the easiest paper to cut through, but definitely not the hardest either. Somewhere in between. So let's see if we can get the wind to coexist with us a bit easier here, and then we can start slicing. Now I'm gonna have to, I hope a bolt can catch all these small papers that's gonna fly all over the woods. Come on. Yeah, so the wind is definitely an extra challenge in this sharpness test. Trying to use as much of the edge as possible here for the slicing. So I think it is doing a fairly good job here. If I put it on the strop for 2 minutes, it will probably do an insanely good job. But still, this is not in any way not in any way a bad performance. Absolutely not. The wind is, you know, it's making it quite hard. Just wanna cut this piece off here. So, okay, I think that's gonna be it for the printing paper, because it's tricky cutting printing paper when the wind is blowing the way it is right now. Let's try some magazine paper here. See if we can... It's also gonna be a bit of a challenge, I guess, but at least. So, magazine paper, slightly thinner, but I can get it more, you know, fixated of sorts here, since it's stuck to the actual magazine here. Yeah, no wind makes a bit of a difference. So this is fairly good results. The knife is most definitely sharp. Let's see if we can get a better angle, perhaps. I want it to be, you know, maybe. Yeah, I hope you guys can get, you know, a sense of the sharpness from this. Yeah, I've got a lot of paper blowing away here. Hey Bolt, would you mind picking up all the pieces of paper that I'm spreading all around us here? Would be highly, highly appreciated. So, let's see, should we do some leg shaving as well? Will we even be able to see that under these light conditions? Perhaps. Hey Bolt, who has more hair on the legs, you or I? Do you want to participate in a leg hair shaving, Bolt? No? Okay. Well, it seems like I'm gonna have to do it myself, but I'm running out of hair. Hey Bolt, can I borrow your left front leg? No? Okay. Let's see. Seriously, I have. That was not a lot, but we did manage to get some, and it blew away. Well, I mean, it did shave a bit. Not the best outdoor leg shaving I've ever done, but like I said, if I had put this one on the strop for a minute or two, it would have been even better. And if I had some, you know, hair on my legs, it would have made it even more easier to make a video of me shaving my legs. So, next up, this is not a knife that I'm gonna do some insane chopping with, because, well, I think it is a stunning looking knife and I don't wanna, you know, abuse it by doing some chopping tasks. Not saying it wouldn't perform, but, you know, I just don't feel, you know, the need to do it. But I can easily see myself doing some random woodwork or some, you know, maybe some light chopping or maybe some light branching perhaps. I mean, that would probably be okay, I guess. So I will see if I can gather some different types of woods and things like that, and we can do some random stuff. See what we can find here in the woods. So give me a few minutes or longer. I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna cut the video and then just edit it back in. So yeah, see you soon. So I went out and find some different kinds of pieces of wood to do, you know, try making some feather sticks from, etc. But we're gonna go to another part of the woods where we can do some branching and stuff here. But let's see if we can actually make some feathers from any of these pieces. I don't think they are, you know, optimal in any way, but you know, let's go with, you know, what we have. And this is what we have. So not sure if I can, should we zoom in perhaps, I don't know, maybe switch place like that. So we are making, I don't know, we're making something. Change the camera a bit, so yeah, I don't know. Sort of a bouquet-like thing here. Let's make a spear of this. Well, yeah, you're welcome, Bolt. So now Bolt went away with the small bouquet that we did here, but doesn't really matter. Wasn't actually planning on using it anyway, so I mean. So what we are making now is probably a toothpick. And you cannot have it just Bolt, you will have to wait a bit, but you will probably get it once we are done. I love the smell of pine. It's quite nice. Let's try to... It's gonna be a long toothpick. Ah, it smells nice. Getting thinner and thinner. Yeah, the dual toothpick. Let's take a look at it now. So this was a fairly thick piece not long ago. Now it is a... Can we get it in focus here? Now it is a dual toothpick. And it is out of focus for sure. Maybe it's in focus now. But yeah, it is possible to do some fine, semi-fine carving like this from a larger piece of wood. Custom toothpick. Not bad. Let's see if we can make some notches and stuff perhaps. Shouldn't be too difficult. I should sit more like this so it's perhaps more visible, I'm not quite sure, but yeah, stay put bolt. So this is why I don't like a sharpened swedge, because when you do fine work like this and you want to press down like that, well, then you cut your thumb in half. It is good not to have a sharpened swedge for certain types of, jobs. And while a sharpened swedge might be nice if you're thrusting this one into a animal or something, this is probably more, more of a realistic task you're gonna do than stabbing some wild animals in the woods. So I mean, I much prefer to be able to do these sorts of tasks. And I will easily sacrifice any sharpened swedge for that, 100%. So anyways, now we have a notch here. Easy work. No issues. So, what more than a notch do we want to do? I'm not quite sure. We've done some feathers. They weren't really nice feathers. We have done this toothpick, and we have now done this notch. I would have liked to make better feathers, but I think I would have preferred finding some other types of tree for that, perhaps. I don't know. This is way too dry to make good. Not saying these feathers are not feathers or that they're not good, but it's not, optimal. And once again here, this is why I prefer a non-sharpened swedge. It makes it so much easier to do all these sorts of finer cuts and work. I mean, would these work to start a fire? Yeah, I mean, if we get a few of them. But, to be completely honest, not really, absolutely not the, the finest feathers in any way. Damn. So, yeah, I mean, not super impressive, right? I don't think so. But it is, yeah. I mean, of course you want dry wood to use as feathers because you want to start a fire with it, but when it is too dry, I mean, it doesn't, you know, really curl. Just, yeah, well, it does actually curl a bit. Let's see what I can do here. It's just that I want to be on camera as well, but it's not easy with there we lost the feathers. Make some. I mean, they look semi-okay, but I keep losing them. They look okay, you know. And this is also like, you know, when I prefer using the shoal grip. But in this grip, I kind of feel like, you know, I wouldn't have mind a longer. It would actually have been slightly more comfortable with a longer guard. So I really have to, you know, investigate the design choice to go with such a sublime short guard, because I have no reasonable explanation for it. So, but I'm sure there is some reasoning behind why they went with it the way they did. No doubt. Yes, it's starting to fall off here, but as you can see, we can actually make some sort of feathers from this piece here. I don't even know what kind of wood this is, but I know it is perhaps not the best. Yeah, I mean, we're getting a bit of this and that. Absolutely nothing spectacular, but still feathers, right? Right. Yeah. So let's see if I can switch location here, and then we can do some slightly heavier tasks, like, you know, some light chopping, really light chopping, and perhaps some branching would be interesting. But we're gonna have to switch location for that. Over and out for now. So let's see if we can do some branching of sorts, maybe some chopping as well. Might have to move the camera around a bit, but yeah, I can see some really nice clean cuts here from when I did some branching with an axe. But for now, let's see what we can do here. So this is gonna be hell to get in focus. Can you see that? Smooth as butter. Exactly the kind of chops or branching you want to see. Clean off. Really, really nice. Let's do some... I'm gonna move the camera a bit here. Don't mind if I do. Let's go like... yeah, a little like that perhaps. And then we can do some chopping off here. Good stuff, clean cuts. Really, really good clean cuts. You see that? It bites deep, and it bites into this piece after as well. Now we're getting a fairly good thickness here. Look at that. Every cut is clean as that. It's pretty impressive stuff. I think it is super impressive, to be honest. we also did quite a bit of damage to this piece. Let's see if we can remove another piece of the branches here. Let's see. So this is actually a fairly large size here. We're not gonna get this one down in just 1 or 2 cuts, but let's see what we can do. And I go for the grip here, the bottom grip here, to get some extra leverage when trying to remove these limbs. So we did get some, if you can get this in focus perhaps, we did actually get some nice clean cuts. It looks really nice on this part. I'm gonna shoot that in the next few seconds, but once again, this is not too bad. It was also kind of tricky because I couldn't get, you know, the full, since this one was so close to the main body of the tree, I couldn't get, you know, the chops the way I wanted them. But if we take a look here, let's see, wait a second, Bolt. Let's see if we can get that in focus. It's kind of tricky when you have the whole tripod here working with, but let's see. There we go, now we are in focus. So you can see some nice, really nice clean cuts. Seems like this fighting Bowie is actually quite capable of fighting not only animals or humans, but also trees. Yeah, let's put it up again here. We can do some more chopping of that piece of tree we just removed. See, yeah, lots of small branches here as well. Is this one still? Won't fall off, no? Not so easy. I wonder if this will. So now we have managed to get some parts off. See if we can get these larger pieces off here as well. Oops. And these are not small sized. See that? Perhaps. Let's give me a second. I'm gonna debranch a bit off camera now just so we can get this. Maybe we should get this on camera when we do these sorts of branching as well. Give me a second here. We'll just turn this over here. We will zoom. Is this visible? Yeah, it is. Probably a bit visible, at least. Then we'll remove them. Then going for the lowest one. Down there. So now we have a piece we can continue with over here again. Let's rig the camera again. Rigging is perhaps here. So these are large chunks. See that? So, once again, really nice clean cuts, and this is a thick piece. I would probably, in ordinary, I would have used like a outdoor hatchet or something to cut these in half, but all I have with me is the Highwayman Bowie, and it's doing the job pretty good. Let's do one more here. Yeah, I mean, good stuff. Pretty impressive, in my humble opinion. Let's switch the angle just a bit here, as it's getting a bit too thick to just, you know, cut like that. Let's see if we can do some other sorts of chopping cuts here to make this one be snap in half. Fairly good first chop, I'd say. In fact, it's pretty much all ready. I can easily, you know, snap it, but we're gonna go with one final cut just because. And there we go. So let's take a look here. Once again, I'm not sure how visible this is in camera, but we got some really nice, let's see, some really nice clean cuts. I will have to admit that I'm surprised seeing this level of performance from a model such as this one. As I stated earlier, I wasn't, you know, really planning on making any chopping action at all, but you guys know me by now, so I mean, I guess I kind of had to. But seeing this level of performance, that is a, you know, I'm impressed, and I'm not easily impressed these days, as you know. I've done my, you know, a fair amount of chopping in my days, but this is just, it's very impressive. And here's of course the other part, and we can see the 3 separate cuts here and what they look like as well, and how deep, you know, you see how deep that one is, that one cut. It's really impressive, very impressive. Let's go with one more here. Now, this one piece is slightly thinner, I guess, but look at that. You guys see that? Freaking axe level cut. So let's take a look at this piece first. No, wait, wrong side. Here's the right side. We can see the 2 cuts, super clean. Look at that. Bang. And that's how it's done. And here we have the opposite part. You can see the first really insanely deep cut, and then one cut that made it cut loose. So really trying to visualize this now. Yeah. Bang. Snap. Good stuff. How is the edge holding up? Do we have any edge damage? No, but we have an edge that's gonna need some slight cleaning up when we get back home, but that's not an issue. That is quite natural. So A2 steel is, you know, it is a steel you're gonna have to maintain a bit, you know, clean it off a little and stuff like that. But it is a really nice, tough steel with I mean, with pretty good edge retention to it, in my opinion. But yeah, on the corrosion resistant side, you will need to take care of your tools. But I mean, that's a given. I take care of all my tools regardless of steel, but that's me. So in terms of chopping action, I think we're done. I think this one has already proved itself. Is the blade loose? No. Is the pommel still attached? Yes. Surprise. Full of surprises, this knife, in terms of what it's capable of. I'm impressed. I don't know about you guys, but this is pretty impressive to me. When I get back home, I'm not sure if I have any, veggies or fruits or anything. We could do some slicing tests, but people tend to not think that's very interesting. But if I find a random, a random grape or tomato or something, we might slice it up. If not, this might be, the end of the full video review. I wasn't even planning on making the full video review today. It just happened. But I hope you have enjoyed watching this video, at least for what it is. Yeah, so I guess I'm gonna say over and out. This might be the end of the video. I don't know. Highwayman Bowie 3. I just realized one thing we could do. Since I did bring paper with me, we can do an edge retention test now. It's less windy here, so maybe it will be interesting. But the knife is, of course, it has seen a bit of more use, but the wind is, well, it is still windy. Fuck, let's just do it anyways. Oh, come on, stupid piece. Okay. Whatever. Still slightly less windy here, so. So as you can see, the edge is still, kind of sharp. It actually sliced just as good as it did before. Maybe even better, since it's a bit less windy. But we'll see with the magazine paper here. How are we gonna do this? I'm not really sure. Let's try like that. Or not. Come on. You know what? Or we can just move the camera a bit. So I can place the magazine paper on... Oh shit. On this. Just do like that. And then we can try... Well, I mean, it looks like the edge is still... there's still some sharpness to it, right? Yeah, so I think I'm gonna skip the food prep or whatever section and just end it right here, right now. And I hope you have enjoyed it. See you around.